Roman, do you have it in front of you? I've got a printed copy in front of me.
Yeah.
Okay.
Could you please mute who's not talking right now? From Korea, for example.
Hi, Brendan.
What do you say? We give it another minute or two?
Let's start maybe.
We can start. Sorry about my lighting. I tried to put as much light as I can, but still doesn't help. It's summer outside and the windows behind me. So forgive me. So welcome everybody to our weekly call. I would like to just run through the topics that we're going to be discussing today. So number one, the team from Pruvendo is going to be presenting, making a presentation on formal verification. That should last somewhere between 15 and 20 minutes. Following that, we're going to talk about finalizing the Validators Contest and confirming the terms and the exact dates of the contest. A kind of last minute thing, I just wanted to make an announcement. There was a decentralized support contest that ran for individuals who participated in moderating and administrating all the different chats, and that ended on the 28th of May. There were only, I believe, 11 submissions, and as I understand, a few people came late and actually wanted to participate. So later today, I'm going to have a continuation of that contest. So everybody who supported the chats from the 28th of May until the 9th of June, this contest is for you. Please participate. Please win some tokens. And we have a little bit of a twist on the Q&A today. So we invited a lot of people from different language groups that we have different chats in Telegram. So with us today, we're going to have folks from Korea. Hello, Steve. Hello, everybody from Korea. They're going to be posing some questions. I understand Kenya, China, Ukraine, and Malta are also going to be joining us. So we're going to have a very diversified group. I think that's a wonderful thing. I think it's excellent. So we're going to get a lot of questions during the actual call. And then, of course, after that, there will be a second part of the Q&A that we're all accustomed to, which is answering questions on YouTube. So please pose your questions there and we'll answer them toward the very end. I think that's about it. So without further ado,
let me introduce first of all our guest today from Pruvendo.
Yes.
So first of all, Ton Labs have been working with the Pruvendo team for almost a year now, and we only have great things to say about them. So today's on the call is Andrei Lyashin and Sergey Egorov from Pruvendo. There is also a third partner, Sergey Kazenyuk, who I don't think he's on the call right now. The guys are very, with huge experience in formal verification and blockchain technologies, or publications with Vitalik Buterin and the work that Sergey Kazenyuk did on Bitcoin Core and Monero projects and so on. So it will be quite technical, but we tried, guys tried to do that as user-friendly as possible. So bear with us. I also wanted to say that the multisig that all of us are using in the beginning of the network on the launch, and using now, and also is in the center of Surf browser, has also been formally verified by Pruvendo team. And now they will start working on hopefully formal verification of DPool smart contracts. So it's very important work, and guys, please.
You have the floor.
Yep.
Before we, I'm so sorry. Before we begin, there's a lot of people in Korea right now physically gathered to join this meetup. Is it possible if we give them just 10 seconds to introduce themselves?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Go ahead.
We can hear you, I think. Can you unmute and Sherry, can you stop for a second the screen sharing, maybe? Orange. Yeah, thanks a lot. And can we unmute Don Korea, please?
Sorry, just 1 second.
Yeah.
I have to translate what they're saying.
Hello, Korea.
Wow, this is great.
저희들은 본 코리아 커뮤니티들입니다. 텔레그램을 사랑하고 진정한 타일 조기화를 위해서 앞장서 일해주시는 프리톤을 우리는 응원하고 지지합니다.
We support and we really trust Freeton, who is leading this work of decentralization.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. The energy is just awesome. Guys, thank you. Thank you for being here. Okay, let's go ahead and mute that, and let's go right to the presentation.
Okay, so hi everybody. As Mitya already introduced me, my name is Sergey, and I am co-founder of Pruvendo team. And today I'm going to say a few words of what formal verification is, why it's very important and essential for smart contracts, and how we deal with it at Pruvendo. So let's move on to the first slide. Oops. Oh. And in the beginning, I'd like to say a few words about such a thing as software bugs. What is software bugs? Just notice I'm trying to be as non-technical today as possible, so I'm not going to deeply dive into any technical things. But I consider that most of you are not engineers. And not professional in software developments. Software bug is just a software error. I'm sure that each of you sometimes noticed some malfunction of one application of another. And bugs are made definitely by software developers. They, as any human beings, make mistakes. And frankly speaking, they usually make much more mistakes than, say, accountants or bridge constructors, for example. According to some researchers, the average software developer makes one mistake for 15 lines of code. So, taking into account that the average sized software has maybe around 1 million lines, of course, you can imagine how many mistakes, how many bugs are inside of each application. Of course, it's not a good case for the whole industry, and the industry is trying to fight with bugs. I'll talk a bit later about some approaches, but by the end of the day, they managed to dramatically decrease the number of bugs. And again, according to some researchers, it's 1 bug for 80 lines of code, but it's still a very huge number of mistakes. Of course, the vast majority of them is really minor, and normally you can even notice them. But among them, unfortunately, sometimes you can see very serious critical malfunctions and security holes. Security hole is a special type of bug that allow hostile hackers to enter your system and basically steal your money. So it's a very dangerous kind of bug. Okay, so after this small introduction of the overall situation with bugs, let's move on to the next slide and see how much you pay for them. Just a few examples here. One of them is Knight Capital Group. In 2014, they had a bug in their trading robot, and just within a few minutes, they lost almost $500 million. After this, they were basically bankrupted and ceased to exist. Probably all of you heard about the DO case when in 2016 hackers intruded the DO system and stole about $50 million, and it was a big disaster for the whole Ethereum community because people stopped trusting them. Also, it was, for example, one very notable bug in 2017 when almost $200 million was frozen. So, and currently today, by 2020, this situation is not going better. According to some estimation, just for the last year, about $4.5 billion was stolen inside the crypto world. Of course, none of them are related to software bugs. The major part was related just to regular cheating. But anyway, so software bugs is a thing that continues stealing your money, and it's a very, very serious problem for smart contracts, for crypto world, for today. Let's move on to the next slide. This slide just summarizes things I was talking before. So taking into account the relatively large amount of software bugs and very serious impact sometimes, investors are scared. And customers are dissatisfied because when they see some buggy software, some not working software, they just stop using it and move to traditional services. And of course, it's a very bad sign for the whole crypto industry. I hope that currently you are scared enough. So let's say a few words how to deal with it and what is the traditional approach. What are the traditional approaches? Of course, everybody is trying to beat beat the bugs, to eliminate their risks, and so the huge amount of different technologies and techniques was developed. I'm not going to technically deeply dive inside them, but I'll just say a few words. So some of them are related to different technologies, such as proper languages, some tooling, some development process. Some internal approaches of the development teams. Some of them are related to intensive testing from different points of view. The next group is external audit and pen testing, where this technique is very popular, say, in Ethereum, where most smart contracts that are marked as validated are validated just using their external audit. And the last group of things, the last group of techniques related to after production support. So quick monitoring, teams on duty, and all this stuff. So again, I'm not going to deeply discuss all these approaches, but as a result, they have partial success. So indeed, they are able to significantly improve the reliability of the software projects, including smart contracts. But as you see, it's not enough, because mistakes are still in place and money are still losing. So let's move to the next slide. And now I'm going to say a few words about the proposed solution, about formal verification. Actually, this approach came from pure academical world, from mathematics. And unlike any other techniques that was slightly discussed on the previous slides, this approach allows to strictly prove that software works as intended, and that no malfunction is possible and no attacks are possible. So basically, you can strictly mathematically prove that you are on a safe side. And it's very important because it basically downs your risk to zero. This formal verification is not an easy technology, but it's really ideal for smart contracts, because the typical smart contracts are relatively small applications and have limited interactions with outer world, and it's relatively easy to prove them using formal verification techniques. For example, using formal verification, we can formally prove the following statements. Say no extra token spending. So if you plan to spend 10 tokens, you'll spend no more than 10 tokens. You'll not spend 100 accidentally. So no magic token creation or anything. So for example, if your system has 1 million tokens, you'll not magically get 1 more million. You'll not magically lose 100,000 from your system. So we can prove that you'll have 1 million tokens all the time. No stolen of the contract. So you'll not be able to move your smart contract into such a state that it will not be usable anymore. So no such a risk. No unauthorized access. No some terrible enormous gas spending. No payment towards people not mentioned in the transaction, etc. So basically, we can prove the impossibility of the dangerous bugs and attacks. As a result, using these high-level scenarios, we can prove that indeed it's safe to use the smart contract. Our solution, I can say that it's not the only solution at market. Our solution is based on COC. COC is a French product that was initially developed for automated CRM Pruvendo. So it was a pure mathematical product. On COC, a number of pure software solutions was based. For example, one of automated metro line in Paris was based on COC. Also, I believe that it was one of subway lines in New York City. So this COC technology is already validated in again mostly in transportation. Then we support most of popular languages for smart contracts. Currently, we work with Solidity, but also we're open for any other languages. One important thing related to our solution is that we work both with high level and TVM level. So we can also not only prove that your contract written in the high level language as Solidity is valid, but we can also prove that the resulting bytecode at the virtual machine level is valid as well. We are strictly compliant with TVM specification, and as Miki already said, we were working with Tom Labs for the last year and successfully proved their multi-sig contract. So the technology is validated. It's definitely usable for free-tone and for smart contracts. Okay, let's move on to the next slide. It's about competitive solutions. I believe that maybe Andrei is going to say a few words here, or not?
Yeah, hello. So I would like to add that most of competitive solutions are based on specific language designs. I mean that they don't use the traditional languages, and therefore they are limited in application for traditional programmers. So it's a big restriction for the use of this technology. So we use the approach which guarantee that we can use common languages like Solidity, like C++, and so on to prove the properties of code. So this is the main advantage of our technology here. And so we do not propose any new language to design smart contracts, and we can support any popular language which can be used by programmers to develop their smart contracts. That's it.
Okay, thank you, Andrei. Let's move on to the next slide. Oops, sorry. Oh, okay. Here, I'd like to say a few words how it works for the customer. So it's a pretty easy and transparent process. So at first, the customer needs to write the contract itself. Then we pass a few steps. At first, we provide initial analysis and estimations. Then we make a specification. Then we provide the verification itself. And when it's succeeded, we finish with we send to the customer both our verification code and as well as a detailed report. And if the customer somehow doesn't believe, doesn't trust us, and wants to check the technology from somebody else, no problem. All this code and report may be verified with independent auditors. But in general, again, we just strictly mathematically prove something. One was a question how long it takes. Actually, it highly depends on the smart contract itself, but it's a good idea to think on something between 2 weeks and 2 months. Of course, in some cases it might take less time. In some cases it may take even more time. But in general, it's a good idea to think about these frames. Okay, let's move on to the next slide. Just a few words about our further plans. So we plan to just validate the whole Friton ecosystem, including virtual machine and blockchain. And also we plan to make the ecosystem, the process of validation and proving as cheap and easy as possible. So by a number of different approaches that we are going to introduce in midterm. And even even we're talking about some kind of automation of proofs. That will be a great step towards simplifying the overall process and making it as easy and cheap as possible. Okay, so here I'd like to say a few words about our team. Actually, Mitya already introduced us. We are all the strong professionals in software, in blockchain, especially blockchain and financial software, with a number of serious initiatives, projects, and activities in these areas, as well as with large experience in software management. So we have a pretty good and strong team of professionals in the area we're working about. And I'm talking about formal verification per se. We're working with it, I believe, for 5 or 6 years. Yeah, so since 414. And it's the area where I think that we're among the best professionals in the world. Okay, so thank you, everybody. And now I will be glad to answer your questions if you have them.
I can tell you there's one right off the bat on YouTube from Ruslan Rezin. He says, how do we move from smart contract code to Coke, ensuring that the program remains the same? Deep embedding?
Actually, we have some kind of DSL that allows us to move from high-level language to Coke. I think that maybe Andrei would like to say a few more words about it.
Yeah, actually we do the deep embedding in Coke. Yeah, that's right. So we designed the special language to formalize the, for example, solidity code in Coke, and therefore we can prove the properties of embedded code, and then we can prove that the same code we have from Solidity side. I mean, that we actually prove the exact code we have from Solidity, but using the DSL embedding in Coq. Yeah.
I also have a couple of questions. The first one is, what is the development process? I mean, usually, you know, the startup need to move fast. I mean, from one side, from another side, the security is very important, especially in DeFi projects, as we see now. But so we have two types of bugs. One is economical bug, yes, and I mean, formal verification, as I understand, will not work here. For example, we saw, and also sometimes in virtual machines, you use not only your code, I mean, as a smart contract protocol, but you use like different other protocols. And so the first question is, I mean, how to build like the process of formal verification for, I mean, any project, you know, and is it real to, for example, I don't know, to make a formal verification of Compound or some other like products, difficult blockchain product? And also the second question is, how much time do we need to make this formal verification, especially when you have like development, I mean, you change something and you need to make a new formal verification, and it also can take, as I understand, a lot of time. So how it's work in reality? Because as I know, like not a lot of projects, for example, in Ethereum now use formal verification.
Okay, so let's start with the first question. Talking about what projects can be verified using formal methods. Of course, it highly is the most generic answer is that any kind of projects, but it's not actually a good answer, because some types of projects are much easier than another. So the most easy scenario is that we're talking about some pure functions, some pure methods, and they're logically separated from the rest of the project. So if we have some say pure mathematical functions that should do something understandable, is the easiest way. The most difficult way, if we're talking about some concurrent environment, for example, multi-thread, it's definitely pretty much difficult, and it's a big problem for formal methods. But unless we're talking about concurrent stuff, the most of things are really doable. Of course, some things are easier than another. For example, cycles with unclear conditions are pretty difficult for formal verifications. The linear code is much easier. Maybe Andrei would like to say a few words also about it. I don't know.
Actually, I'm almost satisfied with this answer. So I would like to add that the less interaction with the real world we have, the easier the process of formal verification can be done. So and you know that the formal verification is concerning about algorithm, not the program interaction with the outer world. So basically, we can excellently prove that the algorithm is correct, but we cannot prove that the user of system or outer world like devices from the real world can communicate with the program correctly. So
excuse me, Sergey, can you please switch on translation of your presentation? Because we don't see faces.
Translation?
I mean, streaming. Yeah.
In other words, can you remove the screen?
Okay.
Sorry. Yeah.
Okay, can I maybe say something also? What Kosti is talking about is the contracts that the compound, for example, DeFi contracts. They're not interacting with any real world most of the time, unless we're talking about Oracle. But they definitely can be proved because they interact with other contracts, and it's a finite automate. So it definitely can. I don't see any problem with any DeFi contracts that I know of to be formally verified. So I don't see any problem with that personally.
Yeah, well, but for example, if we remember BZX hack, it was a project. The name it is a project. Yeah, the name is BZX, and they had a problem, economically problem with that they used. I think they, as I remember, they used something like Oracle price from Uniswap, and it was an economical problem inside.
No, it was. Yeah, I know. Yeah, I can explain. So the verification works based on specifications. So of course the verification will be as good as your specifications are. And if you specify the right terms, like for example that you can receive from Oracle this data or that data in this order, or with that mistake can be possible. If you specify these, then your smart contract could be verified that it handles these according to specifications. Of course, I don't think there is any proof. Nobody can prove something that you did not specify.
Yes, and this is a question if you because I mean a lot of hacks was about that maybe it wasn't in the specification. I mean they didn't think about that it can be a problem.
That's a problem. Of course, there is a problem of constructing a good software. That's more or less because if you're writing not so good specifications, you will write not so good program, and the verification of this program will be not so good as well.
Yeah, and they can do that.
To make an ideal specification. I mean, to close all the fields. I mean,
let me add to that. So specification is not only description how your program works. It could be some statements. So you can make a number of different statements. For example, like can we go below 0, or can somebody without right signatures spend the balance? So you can specification. It's much more than just description how your program works. You can make a lot of statements and check that those statements are correct.
And Pruvendo team, by the way, is doing great work on assisting you or developer with the what is specification, how to better contract ones. Did you forget about this? Or did you forget about that? And so on and so forth. So it's not just a work of, okay, you're doing some code. Okay, maybe you're a better programmer and you just handle it to Pruvendo. Pruvendo proves that whatever you did was right or wrong. But it doesn't work like that. Of course, there is a construction of specifications phase in the formal verification, and I think that was on the presentation by Sergey and Andrew. And so there is a phase you need to go through, and when you go through this phase, believe me, like you're getting rid of 75% of the bugs already just by going through this phase without any formal verification even started. So it's actually make your program better. And believe me, also, if the Ethereum contracts from the beginning or any other blockchain contract started with the formal verification process, we would not see no parity bug. We would not see DAO bug. We would not see most of the bugs of the last DeFi wave of bugs. We would simply not see them. And I believe that for Freeton is paramountly important to push that approach to the verification of our smart contract ecosystem. We don't want to see these bugs. We already we are not first blockchain on the market, and I think we can draw conclusions. And we kind of this approach by Pruvendo is actually a balance between writing programs in a common languages like C++, Solidity, high-level languages, and being really, really safer than any blockchain in existence currently. So yeah, thanks.
Okay, and what is about timeline? I mean, usually, it takes a lot of time to design such system first, then to develop it, then you need to make some updates. I mean,
I think that was an answer on the slide. I think.
Yeah, well, actually, the typical time is from 2 weeks to 2 months, depending on the difficulty of the smart contracts. And talking about updates, when we worked with multi-sig contracts, they constantly updated something. And in the most cases, it's relatively easy to adopt the proofs. But of course, if we change everything, we also need to change everything.
Yeah.
But for the typical minor updates, it's not a big issue.
Yeah, that's a question. So if, for example, you find a bug, I mean, in multi-signature by formal verification or by any other like audits, yes, and you need to make an update or to write a new feature. So it will usually also take like more couple weeks for couple weeks.
No, it's not about more weeks. If we're talking about minor fix, for example, you changed one line of the code or for 5 lines of the code. It's not a big deal for the verification as well. You'll need to change just some small part of your verification. But of course, if you found some fundamental architectural bug in this case, and you forced to change everything in your smart contract. Of course, in this case, we need to change everything as well.
I think we need to
for small fixes, small changes.
We need to move on, I think, otherwise we will spend. I mean, it's very entertaining topics, and Pruvendo team is available anytime, and if needed, if anyone wants, we can create a separate stream with question answer settings and going deeper into the tech. And guys really doing absolutely amazing job. And there is a lot of roadmap for the automation of that as well, big portions of that. So it's extremely innovative stuff and really important. Thank you guys for joining us.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah, I have to say I'm not a technical person. Even I understood the presentation, so that's great. You guys rock and roll.
Thank you very much.
Yeah,
okay,
awesome.
so
all right, let's move on to putting the final points on the Validators Contest. Mitya, are you doing that?
No, that's
Pasha doing
that.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, go Pavel.
So yeah, for the last week we had very intense discussion of terms and even fight with the different validators because this is probably the most important contest we have now and probably will have in the future. So terms are very important for the stability and the future of the whole network. Okay, let's start from the reason why we're doing this and what we would like to achieve. So, of course, the obvious first goal is to add more validators, but not just everyone, but those validators who can sustain some load, who do good job. But a part of that, we also would like to increase stakes locked in validation. Because now on both betanet and testnet, stakes are pretty low. It's about 50K per one validator. And our idea is that it should be increased above 1 million tons. That's how idea appeared to use quite unique for Freeton ecosystem contract, which already written, by the way, and will pass formal verification starting this week, the pool contract. So it will be used to provide to winners subsidy from givers. So winners will get some reward vested over 1 year monthly. But also on top of that, they will get this subsidized stake, so they will and they will take the reward, staking reward, which they will get from that stake. It will be their reward. So this is motivation behind the structure of reward. It looks a bit complex, but you can ask questions, and in reality, it's quite simple. So on the network there is emission, which is pretty low in general because there's 5 billion initial tokens. So the emission should be between 1 and 2% per annum. But if there are not much stakes used for validation, then reward per stake is quite significant. So this subsidized stake will give a lot, quite significant reward for validators which will participate in that context and will get those rewards. So you can see here, and we would like to make some rating among participants. So the subsidy part will be from 750,000 tons to 1.5 million tons, and also direct reward, which will be vested, will be from 60 to 120,000 tons. So those are two components of the reward. The idea is to select 300 winners, but in order not to provide rewards for validators, if, for example, there will be not enough validators participants, then anyway we will put some threshold, rating threshold to distribute rewards. So it's up to 300 winners. So we envisage that contest will start June 15. It will be, as Mitya last time explained, it will include, it will last 4 weeks. So first week it will be normal network load, then there will be increased network load and high network load, and then we will end up with network overload. We'll see how it will go and who will survive during that week. Number of points which each team can get out of each phase will increase. So on the first week you can get up to 10 points, and on the fourth week you'll be able to get up to 40 points. Then it will be all summed, and then we will get rating of all participants. So this is quite, I think, easy mechanics that we see now. By the way, very important clarification. So last time Meetup proposed to hold these subsidized stakes forever. But after, again, quite intensive debates, we decided that it shouldn't be that, because it will create in the whole free-tone ecosystem some special accounts. And we decided that those stakes will be returned back, again, depending on rating, over a period of 1 or 2 years. So it will be provided from givers, and they will be returned to givers automatically. So all this reward distribution, it should be programmed. It will use on-chain contracts. So, but the reason also for stakes to be returned back is that validators should see. So they should, at some point, they should go to the market and try to find customers who will grant or delegate them stakes, and they just at some point should substitute those decreasing stakes from the governance. They should substitute it by market players who would like to earn that profit. Okay, this is it. Anyone has any questions?
Can you clarify just how this subsidy works, right? So the tokens go from the givers to the D-pool contract, and then they're delegated to the validators from the D-pool contract? Is that right? Yeah. Or are they loaned to the validators?
Yeah,
there's no delegation and so on. So it's, they're just staked on behalf of, so rewards are going to the validator. They're staked on behalf of the validator, but they're not participating in elections, and the validator cannot withdraw them. and this stake will automatically be returned in portions over a period of 1 to 2 years back to the giver.
Okay, so over whatever, quarterly or monthly, it gets
monthly, but and yeah. So basically, as the rewards start to come, then the on certain point the amount of the subsidy will be decreasing.
And is there a plan to introduce slashing? Like if these get slashed?
Well, if that gets slashed, then it's slashed. It comes back to the network anyway. To the other
it will come back to validators.
Yeah.
So it means that other good validators, they will get more tokens. So because those yields or estimation rewards, they calculate based only on emission. Once we will have gas, once we'll have applications, and we actually expect to get large use cases, we expect to get a lot of gas. This gas will increase validator rewards significantly. So it's up normally in network and in moderately loaded network, gas should be several times higher than emission. But again, this just the vision where we should come to.
But if a validator gets slashed, shouldn't the whole remaining amount be returned to the giver? We're not going to continue to stake with that validator, are we?
Well, it's it's too complicated logic. Basically, if you don't validate, then just over 1 or 2 years the stake, because on a global level, the fact that there are, I don't know, even 300 millions which are just staked, not moved, and not participating in the economy, nothing bad with that. I mean, I don't think it's a problem. So it will just come back gradually to the giver, and if it will be slashed, then it's slashed.
Okay.
And again, it can be portion, probably the portion. If that will be slashed, a portion of that will be slashed, for example, and of course it will go to other validators, and the rest will continue to stake. And then we don't know there could be different I don't know, dynamics there. Maybe it's a big pool already, and but what is important is this stake will be slashed first. So no money that other people put in this pool will be slashed first. First is this stake is slashed.
Yeah, it is very important comment that those validators will have so they should be motivated to get market stakes from other people, and those stakes will be protected for that portion which is subsidized, and if validator will fail, then market stakes will be returned, and again this subsidized stake will be like a caution for the mistakes of that validator.
Yeah, we're achieving several goals here, protecting the network and both the validator itself, the network, and the users who will stake with this DPool as well. So and we're also expanding the DPools ecosystem with this, and we're raising the general stake, which is very important security measure for the whole blockchain, as Pasha said. I also, can I share my screen maybe for a second? I will just show a glimpse of the leaderboard for you guys, so that more or less everything is ready for the game. So that's how a leaderboard will look like, and that there are some coefficients. I'm not going to describe them now, but basically that's how leaderboard will look. You will see it's in real time, updated in real time, this whole thing, every election, and so yeah, so that's ready to start more or less.
And what can you tell me what this leaderboard will give us? I mean, if I want, for example, to go to website of validator, can I do it? So is it show us who is the first guy, I mean, in this competition or not? So what?
Well, we kind of the KYC moved to the end when people receive the rewards. We're discussing the possibility of replacing the generated name with, if someone wants it, to replace it with the real name of the validator. So that will be available. It's not done yet, but it will be available by Monday, and so you can replace it with your validator's name if you prove that it's your public key.
Okay, so I can add, for example, my website and
Yep.
name, yes, and some other stuff. Okay, and so the second question was, how can I know who is like the leader of this competition? Can I see it in this leaderboard?
Yes, of course. That's a leaderboard. So it's from first place going down.
The metrics are inside because I see only uptime and rewards. This is only two metrics, yes. Or
yep, as described in the contest.
Okay.
But
Yeah.
but the formula will be published. Like the formula, it's all transparent, and actually we're not doing anything on the server. That the whole thing is actually calculated on the fly in your browser. So we will provide you the code so you can verify, of course, that with the blockchain data that it's all calculated correctly. So you'll see everything.
Yeah, Mitya, also important topic you mentioned, which I forgot to say. The idea is that everyone can participate, but one team can get only one reward. So before rewards will be given, we will do some moderate check that there is no one validator team run 100 nodes. It is very important because we would like to distribute 300 rewards between different parties. This is very important for decentralization. So hopefully this is the last time when we should use KYC, and yeah, once the more distributed this decentralized network will become, the less necessity to perform measures to protect from conspiracy.
Yeah, and of course we're inviting everyone to participate. One node for a team, no more. So we get the diverse community, and I think the prices are large enough to actually motivate a lot of people to join the contest.
Yeah, Mitya, one remark. So actually, it could be not one node; it could be a number of nodes, but the average rating will be calculated as average. So for one account, for one wallet, for one account, you can have some number of nodes, but then your rating will be averaged.
Okay, does anybody have any questions regarding this contest?
Yeah, one comment. So I think some of the most valuable work in decentralized testnets is not just running a node, but it's also doing attacks, finding bugs, things like that. So I think the category makes sense, right? The rewards, but I think there should also go a significant amount of rewards for disincentivized testnets for those kind of things, as opposed to just keeping a validator node up. Mitya,
yes, absolutely right.
And yeah, sorry. Yes, Brian, actually, excellent point. Absolutely, yes. But we will run it for the special, as I said before, a special contest. We will create special contests for next week. This context will go for finding bugs and improvements or infrastructure stuff. So yeah, so definitely in parallel to this, this is just a general framework for running a validator and ensuring your validator is good enough for network load, right? So that's what we're doing gradually. And then on top of that, we should add more contests, in security contests, bug bounty contests, and stuff like that. Absolutely.
Okay, cool.
All right. Any more questions or comments? I definitely don't want to jump forward, but there is a question on YouTube that specifically relates to this contest. Somebody's asking, what about the 200K to 300 validators? That's still actual.
Yeah. Again, there was initial idea of equal distribution, 300K. In reality, the winners leader can get more. If once we subsidize 1.5 million tokens to leaders, if you calculate that it will get like from 10 to 20%. So for a year, you can calculate even on decreasing stake how much you can get. And also on top of that, leaders will get 120,000 tokens vested over a year. So leaders can get, I mean, much more. You can do the math.
And we want the competition, guys. Yeah, we want a game. Come on, it should be fun. I mean, it's not just, you know, we get it to 300 and then equally distributed. Then what's the point? I mean, everyone can run a validator just like that without doing anything. So yeah, we want some fight, people. I think.
Isn't that why you named it Fight Club and whatever else?
Whatever.
Rumblefish. Took every S.E. Hinton book I've ever read when I was a kid. All right. Right. So,
I have a question. Can I ask a question?
Yes, absolutely. Please.
Is it possible to provide a stress test environment for maybe 1 or 2 days or something like that before the contest begins?
No, that would be easy. Come on. No. No, that will be live. I mean, that should be as a surprise. But you will get, because we will gradually increase it over time. So we start with a 0 load, like more or less normal load. Then we start increasing every week. You will get an idea of what it will be when you participate. So it will be kind of gradual increase. So you have 1 week, 2 weeks to prepare. So yeah.
Really quick, I have a question actually coming in on Telegram from Stanislav. Hang on one sec. Wasn't expecting that there. Just put him on YouTube, dude. Will this leaderboard reset at the contest start?
No, yeah, of course. It will provide the slices of each week, first of all, because we need to have a record on the each week leader. And so you will see like the whole history, and it will start with the. So you'll see it will not be one leaderboard actually. It will be like several leaderboards. You'll see how it's.
Okay. All right. Okay. Anyone else? Nope. Forgive me. I'm just going to slip something in that wasn't on the agenda. There was an airdrop mechanics contest, by the way, which I proposed and did better than all the others. Yay for me. And it turned out the response was unbelievable. It was tremendous. The original token distribution, whether the rewards were based on essentially the top 15 winners. So there's a proposal up now to change that to the top 30. So I would encourage everybody here to please go and make that approve it. Basically,
I agree.
Yeah, let's do that. Let's give some people some money, huh? I think that. So forgive me for my own vanity here, but I had to slip that in. All right, I think now we're going to move to the official Q&A, but like I said, it's a little different this time. We want to hear from the not so usual suspects. So Korea, I know you're here. Kenya, China, Ukraine, Malta. Anybody here from any of these chat groups? This is your chance. Fire away. Let's get all your questions answered. Turn on your video. Oh, and turn on your cameras if you can. We want to see you.
So we compiled, maybe 10, 15 questions from the Korean community beforehand. So we have a few questions. Maybe I'll start with some validator questions. It's very specific, but Jihae Lee wants to ask, how does the percentage yield of staking rewards increase exponentially or linearly as the stake amount is increased?
Okay, it's just per stake. So basically, each round, all the validators which are staked and won the election, they get the full amount of rewards, whatever they are, like rewards, network rewards. It's for everything, for the storage fees, for transactions fees, forwarding fees, and for block producing. And these rewards are just basically taken and sliced according to the percentage of the stakes in which won the the election. So if you have in the election 10% of the stake globally, just an example, you'll have 10% of the rewards. It's very simple.
Yeah, I guess the question was not only how rewards distributed between participants, but the actual annual yield. The question about it. So yeah, so there is emission, and I said that current emission is pretty low because there's very small stakes now in the network. It will increase.
Pasha, can I correct you? The emission has nothing to do with stakes. The rewards has to do with stakes. The emissions are per block. So each block on the shard chain or in the master chain, for each block in the shard chain that produced, the validators get a reward which is smaller, like 1 ton for a shard chain block, and 1.7 for master chain block. And so the amount of blocks are determining the amount of the emission on the network. So these numbers, of course, are preliminary, and they might change. We might decide, all of us might decide to change that if we think that emission is too low or too big, whatever. But currently, that's the reward. So this is the emission. It's right now it's amounting to 0.25, something like that. If we go to the current speed, which is basically 1 master chain and 16 shard chains. If the network load will increase and will get, like you will see in the contest, then the shard chains will multiply. For each multiplied shard chain, you will start to receive more rewards of the blocks because you had a load on your validator. Again, the basic thing for the empty network right now is 0.25 emission. But again, that can be increased, and maybe it should be increased, but we're not having this conversation now. Before the main network launch, we will have all these conversations between all of us, actually, and we will have to decide if these parameters that are currently in the network are good enough, or we want to change them before the mainnet launch. So it will be up to us, because the validators of 2 sets of validators will need to vote with 75% of votes, the total validator set, to approve the making the difference in the config parameters of the network. And this is a config parameter number 14 that need to be changed for that. So
Mitya, sorry, I tried to make it simple.
Excuse me, I tried to answer the question. I'm sorry, guys.
Okay. If you answer in a simple way, for 1 million, which you have in stake through the pool from givers, you can get from 100 to 200,000 tons per annum. That's very simple. And it will depend on number of stakes total in the network. That's, rough calculation. Again, it's much complex than that, but this the ballpark the range.
And one more thing, when using the word us, I think Mitya is referring to the validator community, the Freetown validator.
Of course.
Okay, more questions. Come on.
So we have a question from Jihyun Lee about community. If people are done about validators, I would like to go there.
By all means.
Yeah. So we need these meetings, important materials to be available to us in Korean. Can I propose a contest for this kind of job?
Yes.
Maybe per word.
Thank you, God. Somebody finally took an initiative. By God, I've been listen, I'm going to tell you right now, Steve, I have been racking my brain trying to come up with a contest for language translations, for documentation translations. And the problem I have, and the problem I think we all have, is guess what? None of us speak Korean. None of us speak Chinese. Well, but by none of us, I mean me and a few folks. So absolutely get it done. You can use the templates. Look at how the other contests are put together. You don't have to use the same format. We encourage that you do, just because it just makes it simpler. Sort of a kind of a, I don't even want to call it branding. Just so that it's generally the same. But as many as you can think of, go for it.
Another question related to community and ecosystem is how would you so what are things that the Korean community can do to help this ecosystem? Is a question by In Sung Gong.
Yeah, I can take answer first, and probably then Alexander can join. So the idea is that we would like to get referral partners who has user base, who has use cases, and we can be very creative. So we have very interesting discussion with gaming platforms now who would like to engage the community. They would like to have on-chain collectibles, somehow distributed to their communities. They would like to have voting from their communities. For example, we're now in talks with gaming team, cybersports team, which would like to put voting team decisions for the community. So there are a lot of stuff can be done, and how you can develop your use case and develop some mechanics on chain. So if you know some companies which has users and they would like to use some innovative approach, how to engage the community, how to onboard new users, then we can help and do shot some ideas and write any complex logic you would like to have.
I would maybe thank you, Pavel, add on the process a little bit. So I think the ideal process so that we start engaging truly global community and partners from around the world is that potential partners that anybody can refer from the community should go to the forum and put their proposal, their idea in there, and also leverage community support to help shape it to in the form that this is acceptable for the governance committee to vote. So that's a very simple process, and the forum is getting alive. So I think we should just encourage more folks putting their ideas in there.
And regarding the forum, for anybody that's not aware, it's forum.freeton.org.
Can you maybe send the link around here somewhere to the chat and to the YouTube folks?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Perfect. Thank you. And could you share just a little bit about how the ecosystem is expanding? Like, for example, Misuk Jung wants to ask about gaming services that are being planned to be launched on top of Freeton. If there's any exciting news you could share.
I'm not sure that we should talk about right now. We definitely plan in June a number of significant announcements, but they should be first finalized. So just wait a little bit. So June, July, we will announce great partnerships.
Yeah, we have several things. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead, Ron. It will be a quick comment from me. It's encouraging. There are a lot of people coming to different members of the community, either directly or through the forum. I'm aware of at least 4 gaming partners who contacted the team members. So there's a lot of stuff going on, but I agree with Pavel that let's announce them as they shape up a little bit.
Yeah, in the true spirit of PR, we don't necessarily want to announce something until it's solidified. But there are a lot of surprises coming in. They're all good. Please continue.
Yeah, so we have a more technical question, but very fundamental technical question. So Insung wants to ask, we believe that based on Ton's scalability, security, and technical ability, we are looking forward for Ton to become the first global cryptocurrency. Could you please explain about superiority of Ton compared to other altcoins?
I think that's a question to me. I think
I love that question.
Yeah. Well, so we have first of all, we have like a current status of the network right now, and again, you will see what loads this network can sustain in the contest, in the final stages of the contest. But even more so with the roadmap that we have published for the support of original vision of TON, and this roadmap will get us into the even more scalability. So we are talking about this famous 1 million transactions per second. Now, just to compare, even today, with the throughput of TON right now, we probably have the fastest network in the world. The only network which is coming close in terms of I'm talking about global distributed network among the validators in the different places in the world, like we have right now. By the way, we have I think almost all the continents covered by validators currently already in the testnet, and hope that will expand. So the only blockchain that comes close is Solana, which is in a beta stage, I would say, and that is a single shard network, and so I think they will hit some limit sooner rather than later, where TON would not, and so TON will be the most, I think, scalable network in the world because of the solving the sharding paradigm. So that's the first thing. The second thing is paradigm. Yeah. So that's the first thing. The second thing is obviously the capabilities of the network as a smart contract platform. I think that's a second phase, which second thing that distinguishes this network from any other, where the smart contracts paradigm just went into the extreme with TON. Like, everything is smart contracts. This is one of my favorite topics. You don't have accounts without smart contract code. Everything is a program, and the ability to get this smart contract platform of that scale into the sharding paradigm, I think this is really groundbreaking. I mean, that's what really differentiates this network from anything else we see. Because we might see fast networks where smart contracts won't work. We may see very secure network which has problems with scalability and smart contracting, for example. We may see combination, but we're not seeing yet, and even by design, we don't see anything come close to this particular factors in this paradigm. So I think this is really incredible technology, groundbreaking technology, which we hope we will take further and further, because there is also a lot of stuff to be done here and develop further. And we have great vision for that, I think.
I know Mita could talk about it for hours.
Yeah, I can go for 2 hours if you like.
All right. Next question, please.
Yeah, so thank you. We will make sure to translate that roadmap that you've posted online.
Can we have a look at you, Steve? Or am I putting you on the spot?
Maybe next call. Maybe next call. Yeah.
I believe me. I absolutely understand. I'm usually, I'm always late. So.
So this is a question from another one from Insong. Actually, the question goes: we understand that TON's payment system is able to replace Visa and MasterCard backed by fiat in a global scale. We would like to know in detail how easily TON could replace fiat in ordinary lives in the future.
So I'll begin and let somebody else answer, but just I'd like to also just underscore, if at all possible, we really want to keep calling it free TON, not TON, right? I mean, TON is TON, and of course, free TON is based on that.
TON is technology, yeah.
TON is the technology, free TON is the blockchain. So so free TON, but that was my only comment, and then please somebody answer.
I think that I'll take my take on that. I mean, but someone else maybe has another opinion. But for me, that like money is a social consensus, right? So it's very much depends on where we as a community takes that. The capabilities, the technical capabilities are there. We are already processing more transactions than Visa and MasterCard already on the completely decentralized network with the validators all around the world run by just people. And I think this is astonishing capability, right? And on top of that, MasterCard and Visa, they just process payments. They cannot produce programs on top of their network. We can do that. And as just described before, we can also do that securely. We can do that as securely as an airplane, as securely as a vehicle who goes to the moon. So as securely as possible, basically. And now it's up to us, up to people, to take that capability, the freedom that this capabilities provides, and and see what we can do with that. It's up to us.
I don't want to go long on this one. I'll just add a few points. One is, I think the question needs to be split on the peer-to-peer transactions and merchants taking TON. Obviously, once free TON is sufficiently decentralized, that would be the opportunity, and a lot of partners would integrate TON into their circulation essentially. And obviously, with the front end called Serve, there will be ability to make peer-to-peer transactions, and there will be more front ends appearing. Then the second thing is there would be central bank digital currencies. 3 members of the community actually applied for the Bank of France tender for the digital euro. So that's a different animal, and there'll be more and more of them. We know the Chinese is coming, and all of the countries, including the United States, are thinking or actively exploring central bank digital currencies. So I would split that in kind of 2 pieces.
Yeah, just to add to that, so to what Alexander said, I think the idea here is we need to become as fully decentralized as possible in as short a time as possible. Once that happens, basically everything is going to work. Everything is possible.
Thank you. This question is more like a broader picture. So Soo-kyung wants to ask, even after the CEO of Telegram has announced the end of its involvement in TON, Misha said that community-led TON development and distribution would continue. Where do you see this going forward in the future? Misuk also wanted to ask the same question.
I personally think that more and more people will get involved. More developers will be, involved in the ecosystem, and we will. Again, there are tons of things we can build on top of this technology, and there are tons of capabilities we can add to this technology going forward. So first, for me, it's not a platform which is like set in stone and never changes, more or less like what happened to Bitcoin. I believe that the software should progress. It should be developed. It should be built upon, and I hope that's what's happening here. Definitely.
Does that answer it, Steve?
I think part of the question was about user base, and as we discussed at one of the governing calls, the objective is to try and achieve 1 billion users. Obviously not in 1 or 2 years, it's going to take longer, but that's the long-term objective. And as the network becomes decentralized and TON would be pure cryptocurrency, there would obviously be a lot of partners who would want to integrate the token, given also the performance that we discussed before and the opportunities that it creates. So I personally very much believe in getting 1 billion users maybe 5 years from now. So in that sense, disengagement of Telegram would still deliver the technology because community picked it up and is developing it, and also the user base thanks to all the partners joining into the platform.
Yep.
Thank you. That would be it. Yeah.
All right, Steve, thank you. Thank you for today. Yeah, please, guys, we do this every Tuesday at the same time, 2 o'clock Central European, 12 o'clock UTC. So absolutely, but we're not done yet. So before I move on to the next set of questions, I just wanted to make sure I looked through the list. I didn't find the people from Kenya, China, Ukraine, or Malta. Are any of them here? If they are, please raise your hand and ask a question. This is your chance. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Hi guys.
Ah, there we go. All right, let's go.
For the first, sorry about my English, but I have
That's okay.
one propose. What do you think about make some t-shirts with logo tone in Ukraine? I can give some my money and make this in this. I'm from Kiev. Maybe make some posters in magazine. Make graffiti. Maybe. What do you think about this?
I think that sounds like a contest proposal. That's what I think it sounds like.
Yes, okay, but now I want,
of course,
Ron, if you allow, just to compliment.
Make t-shirt with logo. Yeah, you know. Yeah, so
yeah, logo is available, so you can get it and you can make t-shirt, no problem at all. So
and after this, I will show you. I need 1 week for the next time. Yeah.
Yeah, great.
As long as I get one.
Yeah, Ron, I see Isaac from Malta would like to say something. I see.
Oh, great, great, Isaac.
Hi guys. I've got no questions at the moment. Just happy to be part of this group.
Awesome. Thank you.
Okay.
Does forgive me if I'm mispronouncing your name. Is it Makita?
Yes.
Makita. Any more questions?
Oh, sorry for this day. I don't know.
That's okay. That's okay.
Next time, if it's not problem, of course I will ask more questions.
Wonderful, wonderful. It's never a problem. Everybody's welcome. That's the concept of community, right?
Yes, of course. Yes. Thanks for inviting.
Absolutely. Thank you for participating.
Thanks.
Okay. Do we have anybody else? Questions from our language groups, from anyone at all?
Hi guys. It's
Hello?
Francesco. I'm Isaac's colleague who just spoke. I'm also from Malta. Sorry, I don't have a camera right now. I'm from SimplyVC. We run some validators and other networks. And we're looking forward to joining Telegram and being in the contest coming up. One thing, as someone previously suggested, I think it'd be cool if in the future you get out those contests around community tooling, using the platform. For example, maybe people test out submitting smart contracts and stuff like that, and using the network, maybe coming up with use cases and building use cases. I think hackathons are actually a really cool idea, and to get people to be really involved versus just running a validator. So yeah, those were my 2 cents, and I'm happy this is the first time I joined the call. So thanks,
Francesco. It's wonderful to have you. I think great idea. I think maybe we can wrap that around yet again, another sort of contest.
Yep.
So so maybe propose one. If you have, obviously you have some ideas. Again, forum.freetown.org, make a proposal, put it together the best way, however you think it should run, and we'll run it.
Okay, thanks. We'll check it out.
Anyone else? Anyone at all? Okay. All right, let's quickly just move to YouTube questions. We don't have a lot. We're going to have YouTube questions, and then I have one more set of questions that came from someone else. So let's start with this. I see here, this question was asked much earlier from, I'm not going to be able to pronounce the name. So let's just go with this. And I believe this question was actually for the formal verification team for Sergey and Andre, I believe it was. He asks, how secure will verification be? Now, I know you answered a lot of that, but since it's a question, maybe you could just take that. He says, how secure will verification be?
So the formal verification is as secure as you want. So actually the formal verification is the most secure way to verify your program validity. So I think that in terms of network security is the formal verification is not so good. So for the security in terms of algorithm, the formal verification is the most sophisticated and the most the best form of program testing. So it's one of the most secure way to prove that your code is correct.
Okay, I hope that answers that question. There's a question here. It's in Russian. I apologize. Maybe somebody want it. Well, okay. There's, by the way, there's a Russian-speaking podcast on Wednesdays at. Somebody help me out.
I guess it's bi-weekly. It's not each week.
Oh, sorry. Every 2 weeks on Wednesday, correct?
Yes. 3.
At what time?
5. I'm sure. I think it's 5 p.m. or something like that.
Someone's got to know. Come on. Somebody's got to tell. And you can ask all your questions in Russian there. What time is it on every other Wednesday?
5. Okay, let's. Yeah, Ron. As far as I remember, it was 5 p.m. last time.
5 p.m. Central European time or UTC? UTC, I believe.
No, Moscow. Because then.
Moscow time. Oh, right. Of course, everybody.
Yes.
Right.
I think it was 8 p.m. No.
8 p.m. now. Okay.
Moscow time.
8
Guys,
p.m.
let's do it in the chat. Let's not do it now.
All right. Okay, so regarding the question about ton distribution through validators, the gentleman says, agreed, this contest is much better than the initial 300,000 token contest, but then I suggest to delete that 300,000 K announcement from the main page. It causes confusion.
What do you mean by main page? I mean, forum is for discussion, so it's not, there's no main page for contest. So only once contest will be approved by governance, it will be put on proposal web page, and this is only where approved contest go. Okay,
here's a question from I'm going to say the nickname Nami. By the way, Nami. Nami's been very active in the community, and thank you so much for that. And him and I had her and I don't know. Sorry, Nami, I'm assuming you're he, had a discussion actually last night, and he missed the deadline for submitting for the idea management system contest, and has apparently a very good proposal. He's asking, is there going to be a round 2, and is it possible to extend it for one more, or rather, or is it possible to extend the previous contest for 1 week? He says, I prepared a good idea, couldn't submit it yesterday. What can we do about that?
Yeah, it's a good question. I think that in the beginning we could have some such peculiarities. Of course, at some point, we should be very strict to the initial rules. I'm not sure, actually. I don't have a solution yet. We probably will discuss. Probably
we will have to vote for that, and
yeah.
kind of just for the exception. I don't think it's it's really great. But if the community wants to vote for this, let's vote for this. But in the future, once everything will be automated, it would be simply impossible. I mean,
Well, I think he's also asking whether there will be a round two. So could maybe the idea management system contest folks, I believe is that Surge, right? That's which team submitted that? Maybe they can submit a second contest and he can participate. So if you're here, IMS.
Sure, I think so. If the community votes for another contest or another, I don't know, the system itself, it's fine. Sure.
Okay. Another question comes from, again, I apologize, I can't pronounce your name, but clarify the question about the node. If you say the requirements for launching a master node, how you can service, I'm reading verbatim here, no requirements for their quantity. Should I try to rephrase that question, or did someone understand?
Yeah, one node. I mean, for the contest, it's one node. I think that some misunderstanding, because on initial validators, they had to support two nodes, and this is on website, and that's why this misunderstanding appeared. But for contest, you can run one node, or you can run a number of nodes, but then you'll get average rating among all those nodes.
Hope that answers your question. I believe I actually do have John Canieri on YouTube here who's asking a question. Hi, John, how are you? Will we be able to run our programs within Freeton? And if so, what will be the limitations or rules? Of course.
I technically, would you be able to run your program on Freeton network? Of course you can. Why not? What's the problem with that?
Yeah, absolutely.
You pay some gas, deploy the smart contract, and here you go.
That's it.
Anyone can do that. You can do it now if you have some tokens.
All right,
it's not a lot, by the way. It's really not a lot.
Yeah, you can do tests on DevNet now, and once tokens will be distributed among winners, and then you can run it on mainnet or betternet.
Give them the URL. The URL.
Sorry, for what? For
ton.dev.
Yeah, all documentation for creating smart contracts is ton.dev. So you can go there and take a look. There are some other documentation places, but this probably more information there. You can find there.
Okay.
And by the way, join the development chat. They are both in English and Russian, and so join any development channel and ask your questions. There are people who are answering. They'll be very glad to take you by hand and walk you through the whole process. Please.
Okay, a little bit of a controversial question here. What if Telegram decides to buy Freeton?
Like all of it. Then we are coming back to the square one.
Yeah.
And the SEC will say hello.
Yeah. Well, that's so. So he says, what if Telegram would decide to buy Freeton or be a part of it to continue their idea, because Freeton has no connection with the SEC?
It's a decentralized network. Everyone can do whatever they want on it. We cannot stop.
I think the question is more interesting than that. I mean, of course, community can vote for referral proposal from anyone, including Telegram, at some point. So, but again, it will depend on the proposal. When we all understand that there's some limit of tokens which can go to one party. So, yeah, below some limit, I mean, can accept any proposal.
Okay, hope we covered that. Rain asks, I'm going to repeat my question. He says, my question is, how do you know who votes in the jury? Will we see the amount of votes on the same page and proposals section on the main site? We're working there. It's being worked on right now.
Yeah, you will. Absolutely.
It just bear with us. I mean, we can't do everything at once, but yeah, of course. I mean, we know, we understand. It's got to be simple, and it will be. So it'll be there. Nami says it was okay. Nami, this is the gentleman who is talking about the contest that he missed. It was just 6.5 days. That's not enough, is it? You know, we talked about this. We talked about how long we should run contests. We talked about how much time we should give before a contest runs. And I think, first of all, again, it's up to the community. It's not up to whoever. I mean, I could propose a contest today and say it's going to run for the next 2 hours. But if the community says, you know, you're crazy, then I'm crazy. So maybe, and this, I'm just thinking off of the top of my head here, how about you propose a contest? I think that would be a great solution. Anybody have a comment? Hello?
Yeah, I guess.
I think, Ron, that's what we said before.
Mm-hmm.
It should be self-governing community on partnerships, on contests, on anything. It should be more and more people every day, you know, proposing contests, commenting on them, and executing them, and then whoever has stakes would just vote. So the more people join in and take the lead, the better. Should be very, very decentralized.
Excellent. All right, we've got some hoorays, yes, yeses. Completely transparent. I believe that is it for the YouTube questions. I would like to, okay, so forgive me. I know we're running overtime and I know people are writing to me saying, let's end it, but unfortunately we have questions. So some people couldn't join us today. So we have a few questions from our Canadian group and there's 10 of them. I'm not going to go through all 10. Mikhail, I apologize. It's impossible. Plus some of these questions are something we can answer in the chat rooms, but here's one. He says, there are a lot of initiatives from the free ton community. Maybe it's time to create a ton federation where trusted people can filter and highlight ideas and forward their enthusiasm in the right direction, question mark. Anybody have some thoughts on that?
Yes, I do. I hate this idea. Sorry, Michael.
There you go, Mike.
Personally, I hate this idea. I think we need to create the tools to better enable this governance process technically for people to join and for easy kind of managing of all that. So I do think, and you know, I'm helping people to work on that. I know there are some people who have submitted some proposals in the community recently, and they are working on some solutions to enable this, you know, tools. But I don't think that we need to start creating hierarchies and government structures and all that stuff. I don't think it's in kind of free tone spirit. Yeah, that's my opinion.
Okay.
I have a quick question. Could you please explain a little bit about the meritocratic way of making decisions that you've chosen that can be a little bit unfamiliar for you know, the community in Korea?
Well, it's really first of all, I think it's still forming. It's not yet everything is known. I think there's a lot of stuff we're kind of developing as we go. The meritocratic way to distribute tokens, I think that's what we're currently doing through the contests. And because we believe, I think that we only need to distribute tokens, the network only, community need to distribute tokens to someone who is also giving something back, someone who is contributing. And that's what is called meritocracy. So when you have a merit, when you contributed something, you should get a kind of something back. And that's the way how to distribute token. The other problems or say thoughts we will have to gather and think about is once we have distributed enough amount of tokens, how do we really govern this community for people who has the tokens? Now, and that's my personal view, and there are people now in the community who don't agree with me 100% on that. But I believe that in order to reach the correct decision or the best decision, which you think at this moment this is best decision, okay? You need to have a skin in the game. That's something that Nassim Taleb is talking about a lot. So you need to have a common interest with the community you're part of. And I don't really know any other mechanism apart from being like having tokens in this ecosystem to actually have a skin in the game. Once you have tokens, you have skin in the game. When you have skin in the game, you have a merit to kind of come up with decisions. And I don't know much beyond that. I know there were many actually models proposed, and Vitalik Buterin actually discussed them a lot over last years. And there are many models proposed for the governance of decentralized community, and no model is working like fully up until now. There are many experiments, like Tezos is a great experiment in community decision-making and governance. Ethereum itself is an experiment in the community governance. There are many others. Bitcoin is an experience in community governance as well, definitely. And in decentralized community governance. So there will be a lot of questions, but Freeton is going its own way because we're building something with the greatest technologies, I think, on top of the experience that we as a cryptocurrency community and the blockchain community already have. Sorry. So we don't need to repeat the mistakes of others. We can learn based on these mistakes, and we can propose something maybe slightly different that will maybe work better. But we will have to work together and produce our own ideas how it will be all done. Sorry,
that's fantastic. No, that's a great answer. And I'm going to break from the questions that I was asking on behalf of Mikhail. There's a little surprise, okay, for everyone. I'm going to let that happen now. Afterwards, we'll continue the Q&A. Anybody who obviously wants to leave, of course, you can leave because we're running way over time. However, Steve, I believe you have something you want to share with everybody.
So I will translate what the Korean community will say, but they want to talk to the Freeton community.
Please.
Just for a second, yeah.
Absolutely.
Please give a few seconds for them to prepare.
Sure.
뮤트 푸시고 하시면 됩니다.
So there's a simultaneous translation going on there as well, as you can see.
우리 돈 코리아 커뮤니티는 오늘 이렇게 커뮤니케이션을 허락해 주신 데에 대해서 깊은 감명을 느끼고 환호하고 있습니다. 우리 다 같이 박수 한번 보내드립니다.
The Freeton Korea is very happy to be part of this community, part of this meetup.
프리톤과 함께 협력해서 생태계를 조성하는 데 있어서 최선의 노력을 다하겠다고 다짐을 가집니다. 앞으로 이런 시간을 자주 만들어 주신다면 정말 감사하게 요청을 드립니다. 우리 돈 코리아는 우리 프리톤을 응원하고 지지합니다.
We would really love to commit ourselves to expand this ecosystem together with Freeton community, and hopefully we would really love to have these moments and meetups as often as possible. We really support Freeton, and thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Awesome. You guys are awesome. Please come back every Tuesday. Guys rock. I don't even know what to say.
Thank you, guys. That's really great. I mean, your support is much appreciated. Really love it.
I think Mita has tears in his eyes.
That's very touching. And I thought I have a bad camera, so.
Oh, thank you. Wonderful. Glad to have you. Okay, I'm going to continue asking. Thank you all. Thank you. All right. At this point, I guess for those who want to exit, you're welcome to, but I'm going to go ahead and ask the questions anyway. If anybody wants to answer them, please do. I know we're running over time. I know people are busy.
I'll stay. Okay.
Okay, yeah, please stay. So the other thing that, Canada again, many people think that ton is another cryptocurrency like Bitcoin. Can you highlight the main differences in the technology and philosophy?
I think I already asked.
Oh, yes, we did. Well, yeah, I'm sorry. That's me. I'm overwhelmed with emotion right now. So
yeah.
Ton is ultra fast. Can free ton potentially be even faster?
Yes, it will be even faster.
Wonderful. I think it already is, isn't it?
It's, what do you mean?
I don't know. Okay. Can free ton communicate with other ton networks on a technological level? What other ton networks?
Not really.
No.
Not really. First of all, I don't know. The ton networks meaning any other blockchain that based on the ton technology that you can run. Not in the current state, no. Because you have master chain, which is a beacon chain for you for your blockchain. So you cannot have two master chains in the same network. I mean, they need to be a design change some sort, and you need to. What you can do is you can provide proofs. You can send proofs from one network to another. Yeah, you can do that, but so it can work together in some way. But long discussion, very technical one.
All right, airdrop is one of the most popular discussions on the forum. Yes, it is. And it seems that there is no right way to distribute tokens in such a way. Why would someone ever choose an anonymous model of distributing tokens where the world requires identity for any type of scenario? Why is anonymity so critical to free ton?
Anonymity, privacy is critical not to free ton. It's critical to free society.
That's right. Absolutely.
Without that, no free society can exist, period. Period. No one can convince me of otherwise. Without anonymity or privacy, no free society exists. That's it.
That's absolutely right. Mikhail, I'm going to add to that. I think everybody who is participating in this is of that mindset. And it's not political. It's not, utopian. It's just the basic fact that we're trying to fix what's broken. The only way to do that is to give people the opportunity to make their decisions for themselves. There's no other way to do it but decentralization. In terms of privacy and everything else, I mean, it has consequences, but they're nothing compared to the consequences of enslavement. That's my own personal viewpoint. Finally, in my opinion, again, free ton, not ton, is the next generation technology. Maybe it's time to find a better name for the blockchain instead. For example, D-chain. That's not going to happen. But okay.
I'm actually writing a proposal which I want to propose as tip 2. And in this proposal, I started to write the answer to your, Mikhail, question about the free software versus open source. And it's kind of morphed into the whole ton improvement proposal stuff, which connect to the licensing and so on, and more like global take. So I will finish that sometimes this week, and I will publish it on the forum as I promised. And let's discuss it there. There are important, but like free ton is not just a name, not just a brand for a blockchain. There is a important historical and I think philosophical and social reasons why it's named free ton. So of course, so yeah, maybe it sounds like for a branding, maybe it sounds like, oh, we can come up with some better name. But if you take into all this history of ton and the history of free ton and the history of the software and the history of the freedom and all of that together, and that's what Freeton wants to be. So, and that's the values it wants to convey. So I don't think there is a better name for Freeton than Freeton. It's my personal opinion.
Okay, Mikhail, I think the overall gist is this: Freeton is not what blockchains were. It's an entirely different animal. It is a community-based, decentralized system network, network, and the idea really is to give power back to everybody else. I know that sounds corny. I know that sounds philosophical. I know that sounds like a cliche, but you got to understand, this is exactly what we're doing, top to bottom. And I hope you're a part of it. All right. I think on this note, we're going to end today. This was a very long podcast, 2 hours. Normally it lasts half that long, or should last half that long. But I know we had a lot of very...
We had Ton Korea community.
Yeah.
Community.
Oh, guys.
We couldn't,
God.
yeah.
I wish I could fly right now so I could go to Korea.
Don't jump off the window.
So... yeah, thank you all. Again, same time next week, same bad time, same bad channel. We'll see you again. Thank you very much. Have a wonderful day. Have a wonderful week. And post your questions on the forum. Again, forum.freeton.org. Propose contests. We talked about this today. Guys, contests. We need them. The tokens have to go out. I appreciate it. Have a wonderful day, guys. Steve, Korea, you guys.
Peace.
Rock.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye.
Thank you all.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye.